All right, let's talk about the JLPT. Specifically, we're going to crack open its super confusing scoring system. I mean, if you've ever stared at your results and just been completely baffled, trust me, you are not alone. We're going to figure it all out today. So picture this. You just took the N4. You feel pretty good about it, and your score comes back over 80 points. That's a pass, right? Nope, the result says fail. How is that even possible? It feels totally unfair, but there's actually a hidden rule at play, and we are going to expose it right now.
Okay, first up, the JLPT pass/fail mystery. Seriously, every single year, so many people get their scores back, see a pretty high number, and are just crushed to find out they failed. This isn't just a case of bad luck, it's actually part of the test's design, and we're going to break down exactly why.
And listen, it's not just you. I mean, look at this. This kind of post pops up in forums every single time results come out. People feeling like they did great but failed, or even people who were sure they bombed it but somehow passed. It just goes to show how common this confusion is. There's clearly a piece of the puzzle that a lot of us are missing.
So, what's actually on the test? Before we get to the big reveal, let's do a super quick refresh on what the JLPT is and how it's all put together. Just to make sure we're all on the same page here.
So yeah, the JLPT, it's pretty much the gold standard for proving your Japanese skills if you're not a native speaker. You've got 5 levels, starting with N5 for the absolute basics, and it goes all the way up to N1, which is, well, it's seriously advanced stuff.
Now, here's where it starts to get interesting. Look at how the test sections change. For the tough ones, N1 and N2, they lump language knowledge and reading into one marathon section. But for N3, N4, and N5, they split them up. This structure right here, it's our first big clue to how the scoring really works.
And here we are, the main event, the 2-part scoring system. This is it, you guys. This is the reason for all the confusion. The JLPT doesn't just care about your final score. It has this crucial 2-part system that you absolutely have to understand if you want to pass.
It all boils down to these 2 rules. First, they take your raw score and turn it into something called a scaled score. We'll get to that. But second, and this is the one that gets everybody, you have to hit a minimum score on every single section, not just overall.
So what's a scaled score? Well, it's just a fancy way to keep things fair. Not every test is exactly the same difficulty, right? So this system adjusts the scores to make sure that getting a 100 is always the same achievement, whether you got a slightly easier or harder version of the test. But honestly, this isn't the part that trips people up.
The real key, the hidden rule, is the sectional minimum. This is the game changer. It means you can't just ace the vocabulary section and hope it makes up for your terrible listening skills. Think of it like this. Each section has a hard floor. If you fall through that floor on even one section, you fail the entire test. Period.
All right, let's look at how people actually fail. Let's see this thing in action. We're going to use the N4 as our guinea pig to really see how merciless this rule can be.
Okay, here are the N4 rules. To pass, you need a total score of 80 out of 180. That's the number everyone focuses on. But wait, look closer. You also need at least 38 points in language knowledge, 19 in reading, and 19 in listening. If you miss any one of those minimums, that big total score means absolutely nothing.
And this right here shows the trap perfectly. Student A squeaks by with 85 points. They passed. Now look at student B. A whopping 111 total points. They absolutely destroyed the language section with a 70. But they failed. Why? Their reading score, 16 points. Just 3 points shy of the required 19.
16 out of 60. That one number is all it takes to completely wipe out an otherwise amazing test score. Think about that. Just a few questions wrong in one section and the whole thing is a wash. That is the hidden rule, right there.
This forum quote just nails it. The math is merciless. You cannot use your strengths to make up for your weaknesses. You can't compensate. Every single section is its own pass or fail hurdle you have to clear.
So that brings us to the most important part, your blueprint for success. Now that you know how the game is played, how can you use this knowledge to actually build a winning strategy?
Okay, here's what you need to do. First, balance your studying. It's so tempting to just work on what you're good at, but you can't. Second, you have to know your minimums. Memorize them. They're just as important as the total pass score. Third, treat every single section as a must-pass. And finally, if you do end up failing, that score report is your best friend. It's not just a bad grade, It's a diagnostic tool that tells you exactly where you need to focus your energy for next time.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know the rules of the game, now that you know you have to clear every single hurdle, which section is going to be your new priority? Take an honest look at your skills. Where's your weak spot? That's where you need to start.